In today's episode of analyzing anime that pretentious nerds on the internet won't shut up about, we're diving headfirst into what might be the most batshit insane 6 episodes ever animated. This show is like if David Lynch, a horny teenager, and a rock band all did mushrooms together and then decided to make an anime about puberty. And yet, it kinda works. I first watched Fooly Cooly during a 2 a.m. anime marathon fueled only by expired energy drinks and questionable convenience store sushi. Not gonna lie, this was probably the optimal viewing experience because I genuinely couldn't tell if I was hallucinating the whole thing or if an anime studio actually had the balls to make whatever the hell I was watching. Let me be straight with you guys. Trying to explain Fooly Cooly's plot is like trying to teach quantum physics to a goldfish using only interpretive dance. It's technically possible, but everyone involved is gonna have a bad time. Here's the thing though. Beneath all the insanity, guitars, and robots, Fooly Cooly might be one of the most genuine coming-of-age stories ever told. So let's break down why this chaotic masterpiece deserves your attention, even 2 decades after its release. Fooly Cooly follows the story of Naota, a 12-year-old kid living in a boring town where, by his words, nothing ever happens. The town is dominated by this giant iron-shaped factory called Medical Mechanica that occasionally releases steam, so you know there's nothing ominous or plot-relevant happening here whatsoever. Naota's life gets turned upside down when Haruko crashes into it on her iconic yellow Vespa. She's allegedly an alien who's hunting down a space pirate and thinks Naota's head might be a good portal to find him because science? If all that is confusing, don't worry about it because that is such a minor detail in the insane story that is Fooly Cooly. From there, the plot becomes this feverish blend of robot battles, sexual awakening metaphors, and bass guitar violence, all set to the incredible soundtrack by The Pillows. Let's talk about the animation, because Jesus, tap dancing Christ, just look at it. Fooly Cooly doesn't just have good animation, it has every animation. The show's visual style flip-flops more than a politician during election season. From Gainax's signature mech designs to what looks like doodles from your middle school math notebook. And this wasn't just Gainax and Production ID showing off. Okay, maybe a little bit. But it was a deliberate choice that reflected the chaotic emotional state of being a teenager. One minute you're bored out of your mind, the next you're experiencing emotions so intense they might as well be a giant robot battle on a bridge. This was Gainax at their peak before they descended into making whatever the hell those Evangelion rebuilds were supposed to be. The studio basically said, what if we took all our animation budget and just went completely insane with it? And I, for one, respect that decision. There's even an episode where they suddenly decide to throw in a whole South Park homage for no apparent reason. That's the kind of batshit creative decision you just don't see anymore in these days of focus group committee approved anime. Strip away all the references, the aliens and robots, the blatant sex jokes, and you've got a story about a kid struggling with growing up. See, Naota is obsessed with being mature, mostly due to his brother moving to America to play baseball, leaving behind his psycho ex-girlfriend who now hangs around Naota like a creepy shadow. Meanwhile, all the adults in Naota's life act like complete children. His dad is basically a walking disaster of a human being who hits on Haruko constantly despite the fact that she's living in their house as their housekeeper. If my dad ever acted like that, I'd probably grow robot horns out of my head too. And for all its artistic brilliance, some episodes of Fooly Cooly feel like they were written by throwing darts at a board full of random plot points while blindfolded. Which, to be fair, they probably were. That being said, when you look past all the zany, absurdist, and sometimes seemingly random things going on in the show, you find a really deep and emotional core lying just below the surface. One that I think has a lot more to say than some of the more blatant metaphors in this series do. We've got things like Naota's horns, which are a physical manifestation of the changes happening to his body that he can't control. A metaphor so obvious that's practically slapping you across the face with a bass guitar. And while those still work, I think there's a lot more we can take away from the series than just, hey, funny sex joke show about puberty and how awkward that time in our life is. While that's an important aspect of this series and something that you see most people talking about when they reflect on Fooly Cooly, I think there's a lot more that we can take away from it than just life is crazy when you're growing up.
Anyway, nothing can happen till you swing the bat.
This is easily my favorite quote in all of Fooly Cooly. It comes during our obligatory sports episode that we see in so many different anime. This one featuring Naoto playing baseball, much like his older brother who, as mentioned before, moved to America to continue this pursuit. Unlike his brother though, Naoto lacks confidence. He believes the gap between him and his brother is so vast that he can't live up to it. Therefore, there's no point in even trying to. Pitch after pitch, he refuses to swing. And while this game has got its own Fooly Cooly spin on it, where Haruko is repeatedly knocking balls out of the park only to try to take down a satellite overhead in space, we get what I think is one of the first and most important really big themes of Fooly Cooly. Naoto's struggle is one that a lot of us can relate to. Feelings of inadequacy. Fears that no matter how hard you try, no matter how much effort you put into something, that you'll never be able to live up to your own expectations, much less the expectations of others. That there will always be someone else that's better than you, so why even try? Because you're never going to be able to compete. As an author and video creator, this is something I definitely can relate to. A struggle I am constantly battling to keep from setting in, that all my efforts to try to make something, to try to tell stories, to try to express myself through art and my own creativity ultimately are gonna fall short because nothing I do could ever be good enough to leave a lasting impact on the world around me. But what Haruko points out in her quote is, at the end of the day, that's all just excuses. It's whiny bullshit to take responsibility off ourselves. Because nothing can be set in motion, nothing can happen if we don't swing the damn bat. We may not reach the heights we want to. Who knows? We may fail spectacularly. But if you don't try, then you're just letting life happen to you. That's something that Naoto does throughout a lot of this series. He only reacts passively to the insane events happening around him instead of taking the initiative to try to leave his mark, to try to respond in a way that he wants to be his true self. Haruko's quote may be the most straightforward piece of life advice this series has to offer, delivered by an insane alien riding a Vespa. But nonetheless, it's important because Naoto doesn't embrace the weirdness going on around him. He's the epitome of that teenager who thinks being apathetic is somehow deep and mature. But in that final swing in the climactic battle, that's him finally taking agency in his own life. Him saying, yeah, the world is weird and confusing and I don't understand most of it, but I'm gonna act anyway. And isn't that basically what growing up is? Probably the most iconic imagery from Fooly Cooly is Mamimi's cigarettes with "Never Knows Best" written on them. This phrase has literally caused anime nerds to debate its meaning for decades now, which is exactly what the creators wanted. As one writer puts it, the phrase "never knows best" isn't even a proper sentence. It's just perfect as the crowning contribution to the perfect moment of being a disaffected teenager who thinks they're deep. From the DVD commentary, the director basically admitted he just thought it looked cool. He saw "Join London" written on a cigarette and a postcard and decided to create his own nonsensical phrase, which is kinda perfect for what Mamimi represents when you really think about it. She is stuck in the state of arrested development. She's a depressed chain smoker and pyromaniac who clings to anything that reminds her of Naota's brother, including Naota himself. At least until they show signs of independence. Her cigarette slogan is basically the teenage equivalent of getting a kanji tattoo that you think means strength but actually means chicken soup. People have speculated endlessly about what it means. Is there a word missing before never? Is it supposed to be he never knows best, referring to Naota's brother? Or maybe it's a statement about how nobody ever really knows what's best. But that's the genius of it. The phrase is meaningless and profound at the same time. Just like being a teenager feels. It's the perfect symbol for someone who's trying to appear deep and mysterious while having no real direction or purpose. It's what you'd write on your first cigarette when you're trying way too hard to be cool. Another bit of imagery we can't ignore is the Medical Mechanica factory. That giant iron-shaped building looming over the town. It's revealed later in the series that Medical Mechanica is an organization that destroys planets by leveling all the land flat, symbolizing culture's way of standardizing the human experience, especially for kids. Think about it. The factory is shaped like a giant iron that removes wrinkles. It represents the mundaneness of life, the repetition and the boredom that adulthood can be. It's basically society trying to iron out all your quirks and differences until everyone's the same dull, smooth surface. One interpretation calls it the oppressive nature of adulthood that tries to suppress individuality, adventurism, and creative thought. All that steam it releases, that's the suffocating sameness of normality that blankets the town. And what does Naota do? He fights against it. He rejects the idea that growing up means becoming a boring, ironed-out adult like the commander with his ridiculous fake eyebrows. Fooly Cooly might seem like a chaotic mess of robots, guitars, and sexual innuendo, but when you strip away all that insanity, it's telling you something surprisingly straightforward. Growing up doesn't mean becoming what society expects. It means taking action in your own life, swinging the damn bat, even when you're confused as hell. It means rejecting the idea that adulthood is this boring, smoothed-out existence where everyone is the same. Naota starts the series thinking that being mature means being like his brother or acting like the adults around him. But by the end, he realizes that true maturity is making your own choices and embracing the weirdness rather than suppressing it. So what can we learn from Fooly Cooly? Swing the damn bat. Don't identify too much with fake deep phrases on cigarettes. And for God's sake, don't let society iron out all your wrinkles. I'm not saying Fooly Cooly is for everyone. If you need your anime to make logical sense or follow traditional narrative structures, you're gonna have a bad time. But if you're willing to surrender to the chaos and let this bizarre, beautiful show wash over you, you might just find something that speaks to you on a level you didn't expect. Fooly Cooly reminds us that growing up isn't a straight line. It's a messy, confusing process filled with moments of intense emotion, periods of boredom, and the occasional giant robot battle. And sometimes that's exactly the kind of story we need. So if you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor and watch it. And if you have seen it, watch it again. Trust me. You'll notice something new. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. It means the world to me. Remember to drink water, touch some grass, and always be true to yourself. I'll see y'all in the next one.